Thanks so much for joining us. We are at the Blick Summer Series of Workshop at the NAEA Studio and Galleries in Alexandria, Virginia. We're here with a group of art educators from across the country, and we're here to do a 3D design today with a material that you guys probably are very familiar with, and perhaps you've already done sculpture with it before. It's nothing new. It's been around for the craft market for making baskets for many years. But I'm going to show you something today, a new way to use it that I think you might find very enjoyable. It's very easy. Now this is reed. Obviously that's what we know it as. And for many years I thought reed was something that grew at the side of a river. Well, with a little research, I was able to find out that this comes from a jungle vine, actually. So this is harvested out of the jungles in Southeast Asia. Reed in itself can be used dry. It's, usually we think of basket making and all that we need to soak it. It can be used dry, but it is a little bit more brittle, and it'll reach the point where it does break. We have on our tables just a little bit of water in a vase, and we put the reed in the vase. The reed acts just like a sponge. It's a natural material, so it's soaking up all that water. And then every once in a while you just go back in and you flip it over so that the dry pieces up here on the end go down into the water. And it stays pretty damp that way. Now reed comes in a big bundle like this, and you can cut it down usually with scissors. Some of the heavier pieces, like we're going to use some of the thicker diameter today, you can use smaller scissors. They work pretty well. But if you're going to do mass quantities of these, cutting them down, I do recommend having a bigger piece, or you can take these over to the paper cutter and whack them down very easily. A little easier to do when they're wet. When they're dry, you end up with perhaps a little cracking, a little splitting up here at the top. So you might want to do that damp. This is a corrugated plastic panel. So I've cut it into strips for you, but you don't have to leave it in a strip like that. You can definitely cut it down into smaller pieces like this. You could even cut it against the channels so that you can make even smaller strips like that. If you just insert the reed into the channel like that, and then you can bend it and insert it into another side of the channel like that. And that holds it in place. Okay, that's a good start to a sculpture right there. Then let's take another piece. I'll take one of these pre-dyed ones we have. Insert it into that. And let's say I want to come all the way around. I can insert it on that side as well. You can push it all the way through so that you can get a tighter bend to it. And let's say, oh, well, that's not where I wanted to go with that. Okay, start over. It just removes very, very easily as well. Talk to you guys a little bit about the color of the reed, because the sculptures themselves, they look wonderful as natural reed, and you can leave them that way, but a lot of times we want to add color to them. That just makes them a little bit more exciting. Some of these were batch dyed first. I used a fabric dye. In this case, I used Jacquard's Procyon MX dye. Mixed up a batch of this, put the reed in a large container, let it soak for, about half an hour in order for the reed to just soak up all of the dye, and then added a little bit of soda ash to the mixture. If you guys do any sort of tie-dye, very similar process, and it's really not that difficult. You can take the entire batch of reed like this and put that in the dye and then cut it later. So it's a very quick way to batch dye if you wanted to do this first. Another idea, of course, is to paint it. And you can do brushwork with it, perhaps using an acrylic paint. And today we're going to do a spray paint. Now we have a special spray paint here that we sell. This is Marabou. The spray is ready to go. And you can see it's nice and bright right out of the bottle. And I might want to turn it, spray down on the side. Of course, we're going to be very careful about keeping all of our spray in the box. I did kind of a simple job to it. You guys will probably take a little bit more time. Now, another option that I brought with are these little wooden barrel beads. These fit precisely on the ends of the reed that we brought with us. There you go. You can just put that little bead on the end and that finishes it off. Here's an option that you could finish it off with. So this is just some rice paper, and you guys could use tissue paper as well. But once you get your sculpture put together, this could be just a little glue can be run along the side and the paper can be attached to it. And then if you spray a little water on the paper, it'll stretch a little bit and you'll get a really nice tight fit on it like this is here.